It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Please go to our YouTube channel, Conduit News, and subscribe to it and click the little bell for notifications. You will get smaller videos that we upload. We take the interviews that we have on the show and we cut them up into smaller videos, so it makes it easier for you to share with your friends. One of those videos that's about to be made, we're making it right now, is with State Representative Rick Beck, a Republican from Center Ridge. He joins us now. State Representative Beck, welcome to the program, sir.
Well, thank you for inviting me on. I've listened to your show quite a bit, actually.
Well, I appreciate it. And I want you to tell everybody, District 65, geographically, can you set that up for the rest of the state so we know where that is?
That would be the Conway County, pretty much all of Conway County, and about 85% of the population of Perry County.
Okay, all right. So I wanted to have you on to talk about your bill, House Bill 1505, an act to require certain reports under the Transformation and Efficiencies Act of 2019, including savings reports for other purposes. What's this all about, sir?
Well, as part of the transformation, and we're going to form 15 departments that will be headed up by department secretaries. So what this report does simply, what the bill does quite simply, is requires that those secretaries heading up those departments produce back to the state agencies committee a report, and that report would show that how 1% savings could be achieved in their department. Now, it's important to remember that this only includes general revenue funds. It does not include any special revenue funds. It only includes agencies that would be in committees and boards that would be part of the transformation process. So basically, that secretary would come to the state agency 2 weeks prior to the next fiscal session and say, this is a report on how 1% could be saved. Now, does that mean that it would have that the state agencies would have to adopt it? No, they would not. They could keep something. They could, discard all of it if they wanted to, or they could just pull the parts that they wanted out of it. So, the ideal behind this really comes from my background. I have some work in lean, and it's really requiring or asking these department heads to go and look and say, how can you make your different agencies more efficient? Efficiency, if you drive efficiency, savings will automatically come from that. So that's one thing I would encourage them to do. Empower the different agencies and the different members and the team members in those agencies to do their jobs more efficient. What do we need to do to make you more efficient? And then savings will automatically flow from that. The other low-hanging fruit would be the possibility of combining administrative type functions like HR and those types of things, where we'll have these new departments will have multiple agencies underneath them. Maybe we can combine those and save the taxpayers some money. If we were to go the full 1% and we were to adopt all of that, that would save the taxpayers about, and it's hard to determine because we don't know exactly who all is included in transformation yet, but that would include approximately, it should save us about $40 million.
Wow. We're talking with State Representative Rick Beck. So to kind of recap what you just said, this would require the agency heads 2 weeks before the fiscal session to submit a report about how they could reduce spending 1%. Is that correct?
Right. Now, that 1% is actually based upon the expenditures. It'd be a 1% cut from the expenditures of the 2019 fiscal year. So that would be the benchmark that they would go for the 1% off of.
Okay, so they submit that report. It's saying, if we had to, this is what it would look like. And then I guess that doesn't necessarily mean it happens. So what? Because I've been talking about this, I guess, for the last couple of weeks. It would be really nice if we would just cut 1% each department, leave it up to them to do. And that seems to be what you're doing. And then, but how would we then get? How would we then get to the reality of the reduction is actually going to occur?
Well, the timing of the report is not accidental. It's right before we would actually go into the budgeting process for that fiscal year. So it's really giving the legislators a tool in their hands, saying, hey, these are some areas where we could do. The report actually might include some suggestions of some regulations that could be changed that would facilitate some of these savings. So I think that's a good thing to do. The other thing that I really, obviously I like the bill, but one of the things I really like about this bill is I've had people that come to me and they say, well, you're wanting to cut this agency or that agency, and I tell them, no, I'm not. What I'm wanting to do is to give the department secretaries, these people heading up these departments, I want to give them the ability to look at all of their agencies. It might be that we actually increase funding to an agency that's doing a great job, and take a much larger decrease from an agency that's maybe not doing that great of a job or is no longer needed. Mm-hmm. It's empowering them to give the Arkansans savings.
Yeah.
Through efficiency.
I think, this is a reason I wanted to have you on is because I think this is a good step in the right direction. I mean, I really do. Where is the bill right now in the process?
The bill was, oddly enough, the bill got referred to the same agency that the report will go to. It's state agencies. And right now, the bill was tabled. And it got tabled because later the day that I actually introduced the bill, later that day, the governor was going to speak about some transformation things to the committee. So they elected to table the bill until after they heard from the governor on the newest changes to transformation. And it's scheduled to come off the table Wednesday morning, and then I will be reintroducing it.
I mean, you got a lot of it's House Bill 1505. You got a lot of House sponsors here. I mean, it's very popular, and you've got over in the Senate, Senator Ballinger, Senator Johnson signed on for it. I think a lot of people think this is common sense, and can kind of start the process of trying to get some of this agency growth out of the way. Hey, while I have you on, we're talking with State Representative Rick Beck. I noticed that yesterday during the highway proposal that has tax increases in it, as well as the constitutional amendment to keep a sales tax from sunsetting, I noticed you voted no on both of those measures. Do you mind sharing with our audience why you voted no?
Well, on Senate Bill 336, right? The reason I voted no on that is I honestly feel that we can do this better if we'll just. I didn't like the actual increase for the fuel tax. I read a report last week that says that with the diesel tax increase, which is 6% on that, that's going to put us higher than any of our surrounding states around us. Now, Arkansas is a major thoroughfare for these 18-wheelers coming across, and I think is it possible that we might see a reduction if we could price ourselves out of the market and not get those revenues from the diesels. But the other reason is I just don't think that we should be trying to increase the taxes. That Arkansas is a rural state. People need to drive to go back and forth to work. So that tax on fuel like that is I think it's very crippling to a lot of Arkansans, and that's why I just think we could have done it somewhere else. Now, as far as the
go ahead. No, you go ahead. Yeah, moving on to the constitutional amendment.
As far as the constitutional amendment is concerned, I just feel like we, by that I mean the legislators, should have handled that. And here's the reason why. I'm not saying yes or no as far as keeping that tax or letting it sunset, either way, but I think the discussion should have been in this chamber and then allow us to do it, because that gives us more ability to, if we decided to keep it, how it should be applied more directly. The way it will go now, it will go to the voters. and they will not have a choice to tweak it. You will have to say yes or no on this. So I would increasing that tax. Now, I would say that it would be better for us to do that. Plus, we also take up another slot by referring that to the people at this point. I just think that it should have been handled, yes or no, in the legislative process and not referred back to the people. And I know that some people may take exception with that, but I just think that we could have done more with it. And that's quite honestly what we were, I always say, hired to do. It would be a tough decision. We should have got input from the folks back home and voted up or down on that.
State Representative Rick Beck, I certainly agree with those points, and I think the people, like you said, we're a rural area, and every dime that we have is precious to us, and we're already giving the government a lot of money to fund some of this stuff, and yet we're still being asked to give even more. And so I appreciate you standing up. I appreciate you coming on the program today. I appreciate your bill to reduce, government, or to kind of start the conversation about reducing government. And it's been a pleasure to have you on, sir. I really appreciate you.
I've really enjoyed it, and please invite me back some other time.
Yes, absolutely. Let's make this a regular thing. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sir. State Representative Rick Beck, everybody.